Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 22 based on novel. So let's start. Young man, be bold. Die for me. Suddenly, the sound of several violent drinks came from the horizon, and then 5 streamers crossed the sky and rushed towards Xiao Yang. Drink. Xiankong waterfall. Then, the 5 strong and powerful Dozuan rolled towards Xiao Yang, and the space past was carefully distorted, which was the hegemony of Dozuan. One of them, an old man with the strength of 7-star Dozuan, exudes a touch of pure light in his eyes, which looks extremely cruel. At the same time, his palms open and close in front of his chest, and the printing formulas in his palms continue to emerge. The fighting spirit in his body quickly converges over his head and turns into an energy waterfall. With a low drink, he falls hard at Xiao Yang. The other 4 fighting masters also put their fighting spirit into the energy waterfall, which makes the waterfall even more powerful at the moment. Xiao Yang is still expressionless about this, just fighting respect. For him, he was considered a strong man many years ago, but now he is just a mortal. Ignoring the old man's fighting skill bombardment, Xiao Yang's bright eyes looked at Shuzhen blandly, and the clear and qualitative voice came out faintly. See, I didn't want to be like this, but your elders have to fight me because of your words. I can't blame you. Xiao Yang's insipid tone also shocked Shuzhen. The whole person's complexion became like a piece of white paper without blood. You know, just now, under his eyes, his grandparents, strong men as strong as the 8-star Dozuan, were defeated by this boy. It can be imagined that the boy's strength has reached the point of fighting respect and 9 turns. Although thinking like this in his heart, the look on Shuzhen's face turned into a sneer. As soon as he raised his arm, turned his palm into a fist, turned his thumb up, and then turned down, he made a gesture of contempt. A ferocious smile came up at the corners of Shuzhen's mouth, which made the whole face look a little twisted and crazy. His eyes were full of fierce colors. As soon as his head tilted back, his nostrils turned to the sky and sneered at Xiao Yang. When you are dying, you dare to speak such a big story. You really don't know whether to live or die. Even if you hurt my grandfather, you will die as long as you don't enter the semi-saint. The next moment, the old man who showed his fighting skills to Xiao Yang also gave a sneer and shouted, "Boy, now you're dying, and you dare to speak so loudly. You really don't know how to live or die here. Xiankong waterfall. Kill this tease for me." The broad waterfall, carrying the terrible threat of heaven and earth, attacked Xiao Yang fiercely, and the other 4 Dozuan elders also stared at Xiao Yang fiercely. All the powerful Dozuan momentum poured out and weighed heavily on Xiao Yang. Noisy. When the giant waterfall fell over Xiao Yang's head, Xiao Yang suddenly had a big sleeve, and the invisible energy swept the whole world in an instant. The full suppression of the 5 fighting giants was also broken in an instant as if there were nothing, and swept away in all directions without stopping. Among them, there are 5 dry and thin figures like dead bodies. At this moment, the crowd who had already dodged 100 feet away to watch finally woke up completely and looked at Xiao Yang with fear. If I remember well, the former Dozuan strongman who rushed to the sky should be the first strongman of the Shu family. Shuzhen's grandfather is a real 8-star Dozuan peak strongman. He is 1 step away from reaching the 9-star Dozuan. As soon as this voice came out, the crowd immediately boiled like a frying pan. Even the strongest people comparable to the 9-star fighter were beaten back by the youth. How powerful the youth's strength would be. Since the old man is an 8-star fighter, I'm afraid the worst of the 5 coming after him will be a 5-star fighter. At the moment, the crowd was also shocked by today's terrorist lineup. Only 1 young man led to a full 7 strong fighters, but even so, the young man still overwhelmed them. Such ability really made many people in the crowd feel hot in their hearts. In life, you can achieve so much when you are young. I'm afraid you can face any difficulties in the future. At the moment, the Muling also stared at Xiao Yang with a kind of frightened eyes. The muscles on his face seemed to be solidified. His mouth was also the boss of Zhong, and the depths of his pupils were filled with an unbelievable look. In any case, he didn't expect that this inexplicable peer who helped him had such a strong strength. Even if the 5 elders of the Shu family shot together, they couldn't last a round under him. Such strength can be called against the sky. Xiao Yang also showed a plain and harmonious smile to Muling, which broke Muling's look. Xiao Yang glanced at the crowd of onlookers on the edge of the distant sky, and then turned his eyes to Shuzhen. There was a trace of coldness in his expression. At the moment, Shuzhen's face was replaced by endless panic at the moment when the 5 elders were blown away. At the moment, the man in black standing in front of him, what he did today, has completely overwhelmed his arrogant heart. Just as Xiao Yang was about to act, the space in front of Xu Zhen was distorted, and Xu Pei's body appeared again. The figure shows that Xu Pei's backhand is a palm to blow Xu Zhen out, and his body also attacks Xiao Yang with this strength. Zhena, go quickly. Today, we old guys may have to explain that we are here. You leave here quickly. You must hide well. You can't come out without enough strength. With Xu Zhen's body flying backward, Xu Pei's last words fell into Xu Zhen's ears. After hearing this, Xu Zhen really realized what terrible strength Xu Pei was facing at the moment. In this regard, Xiao Yang also felt a little impatient. He didn't say he wanted to kill, but these old guys had to fight with their lives again and again, which really annoyed him. Hum. With a cold hum, Xu Pei's body suddenly solidified, and then Xiao Yang clapped it with a palm. With a bang, Xu Pei turned into nothingness. Unexpectedly, he didn't leave a trace of flesh and blood. This scene is just like the previous strong fighter of Dozong. Without waiting for Xiao Yang to act, Xu Zhen, who had just stopped his body, flashed out again. Looking at the figure, it was Xu Zhen's grandfather. Hum. It's really exciting. Xiao Yang raised his palm and hit Xu Zhen's grandfather in the air. The skinny old man whose strength was only 8 stars. However, in the face of Xiao Yang's bombardment, Grandpa Xu Zhen's face was covered with a cruel color. With a wave of his palm, a piece of jade appeared in the palm of his palm. Without hesitation, the dry palm shook it vigorously, and the jade slips exploded into a ball of powder and scattered in the air. At the same time, Xiao Yang's palm was also waved hard. In front of the skinny old man, an invisible huge palm appeared. One palm was patted hard at the skinny old man. Boom! A ripple of water-like energy spread in front of the thin old man, and a gas barrier also appeared to protect Xu Zhen and the old man. Xiao Yang also raised his eyebrows when he saw this scene. He was slightly surprised when he looked at the gas-fighting barrier. The gas-fighting barrier was actually laid by the Semi-Emperor Strong. Is it because of the jade slips just now? It seems that the Xu family also has some stories. I didn't see it. It's really good for a small family to have half-Emperor Strong people to protect each other. Xiao Yang looked at the thin old man with dull eyes. His face was still calm, as if he looked at the half-emperor as if he had nothing. Hum. You are arrogant. Even if you are a strong saint, you are still like an ant in front of the semi-emperor. Hearing Xiao Yang's insipid words, the thin old man also hooked the corners of his mouth, raised a sneer, and then gave a cold hum. Obviously, he despised Xiao Yang's ignorance. In the face of the scornful words of the thin old man, Xiao Yang couldn't help laughing, raised his fallen palm again, and clapped it at the invisible barrier. This seemingly random blow shocked the world. Xiao Yang's space to the barrier also collapsed into nothingness under this palm. The void was broken, and a giant force suddenly appeared in front of the invisible barrier. In a twinkling of an eye, it turned into a huge palm. Without waiting for the skinny old man to respond, the giant hand was already bombarded with the barrier. In an instant, heaven and earth trembled, and a harsh sound explosion swept the world. The just fierce air wave swept the 4 directions from the middle of the collision. The power shocked the world. Click. An invisible crisp sound sounded from heaven and earth. Then, the thin old man clearly saw that the invisible barrier in front of him broke a slight crack at this moment. However, this is not over yet. A crack appears. In only a few breaths, the invisible barrier has been broken to deep. The whole barrier is full of clear and thorough cracks. Boom. With a roar, the invisible barrier burst under this sound, turned into nothingness and disappeared between heaven and earth. The skinny old man was surprised when he saw this scene. There was a surprised look on his thin face. The young man in front of him was even half-emperor strong. The barrier was broken, but Xiao Yang ignored the grandparents and grandchildren in front of him. Instead, his body turned, and his fighting spirit suddenly poured out, hurtling towards the void on one side of his body. Bang! With a dull noise, Xiao Yang shook his body and retreated a few steps back, but the earth under his feet has become a huge pit 100 feet long and wide. The power of the semi-imperial strongman was so strong that he stepped out of such a huge pit just by taking a few steps back. Such a big hole, I'm afraid, is the full blow of Dozuan's top strength, which is also difficult to do. The power of one step is to have the power far beyond the peak of Dozuan. The semi-emperor strong is really terrible. As a semi-imperial strongman, Your Majesty has made such low means, but it is contrary to his identity. Xiao Yang's body was towering and motionless, his body was horizontal and empty, but the corners of his mouth caught a sneer, a faint way. When you become a king and defeat an enemy, you never pay attention to the process. Why do you stick to your face like that? As soon as Xiao Yang's voice fell, a figure dressed in black and purple robes also appeared. He stood 10 feet in front of Xiao Yang. At the same time, a sarcastic remark with a slightly dry and hoarse voice came out. Xiao Yang smiled and sneered. No wonder you look like this. You've been shameless for a long time. Under Xiao Yang's eyes, the man's face turned out to have half a face, as if it had been splashed with sulfuric acid, distorted and terrible. Xiao Yang's words obviously said the pain in this person's heart. The eyes looking at Xiao Yang were more cruel and wanted to bite people. His distorted face also looked more frightening at the moment. But suddenly, he was laughing wildly again. He looked up to the sky and came out of his mouth. Then he looked at Xiao Yang. His eyes were cold and indifferent. Smelly boy, I've been in power for many years. There are not a few people who abuse and ridicule me like you. I'm afraid they add up to at least hundreds. Do you know the outcome of those who abuse and ridicule me? When Xiao Yang heard the speech, he raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth and replied in a flat tone. All dead. The old man's eyes looked colder at Xiao Yang, and a frightening grin appeared at the corners of his mouth, sneering and saying, Yes, they all died in my hands, and none of them escaped. Moreover, among them, there are several people as strong as you who have reached the rank of half-emperor. The old man's words spread, and the crowd standing on the edge of the sky immediately became boiling. According to the old man, he once killed the transcendent strong man of the semi-emperor supreme. Doesn't that mean that his own strength, at least, is also the extremely strong man of the semi-emperor supreme? Looking at Xiao Yang again, the previous sneak attacks of the semi-emperor strong man were easily dissolved by him. Isn't Xiao Yang also a semi-emperor strong man? In one day, these wild friars who mingled all day to add blood to the edge of the knife unexpectedly met 2 semi-emperor supreme powerful men who could not even think of in ordinary days. How can we not shock them? Just for a moment, the crowd that was just about to boil was silent again. The power of the semi-imperial strong was not for fun. If any of them really made the 2 unhappy, I'm afraid that in a moment, their seemingly huge team would be extinguished. So far, we can see the deterrent power of the semi-imperial strong. Even if the guy who is wild and fearless in life and death can only face it with fear in front of the semi-emperor. The suppression of the semi-imperial strong lies not only in your body, but also in the real control of your soul. In front of it, all you can feel is that all your efforts will be a pile of bubbles, ethereal and impossible. Today, the home of Yangluo City must be the 2 in front of them. Therefore, while the crowd was silent, they all retreated quickly. You know, the bombardment of the semi-imperial strong, even an afterwave, was enough to shatter them. Xiao Yang glanced lightly at the rapidly receding crowd, smiled faintly at the corners of his mouth, looked at the distorted old man and said with a smile, Now that they have made the opening for us, should the battle between us also begin? The old man sneered. Under the twisted half of his face, it looked as if there were countless insects crawling, which looked disgusting. Boy, since you are so anxious to die, I will help you today. Gaga, gaga, boy, die. Before the old man's sneering words fell, the withered and thin body wrapped under the purple-black robe was suddenly shocked and rushed to Xiao Yang. Withered poison palm. Withered poison palm. The twisted old man moved and naturally came to Xiao Yang's body. The black and purple fighting spirit in his palm condensed rapidly, and the light in his old eyes flashed. One palm blasted at Xiao Yang's face. Xiao Yang is not afraid of this. He is only a 5-star and a half emperor. He killed all the crack cloud wolves of the 8-star and a half emperor. What can he do to the ugly old man in front of him? As soon as his palm turned over, Xiao Yang greeted him fiercely and roared with the old man's palm in front of him. Ancient imperial seal. The semi-imperial strong, even the advanced fighting skills of this rank, now in their hands, also look very extraordinary and powerful. When the 2 touch each other, heaven and earth tremble. Even at such a long distance, some of the monks with low strength still spit out a mouthful of blood against themselves. As for those who are stronger, they can't help spilling a trace of blood from the corners of their mouths, and the whole person's face turns pale in an instant. The half-emperor strong man is indeed worthy of being the real strong man in Yuanwu mainland. Even if it is thousands of miles away, it is still like nothing in his eyes. The 2 people clapped each other, and the fierce explosion spread from between them. The strong force made the void show small cracks, as if the whole void would collapse in an instant with another force. 8-pole collapse. Poison finger. The two people just took a step back from each other. Xiao Yang and the old man in front of him moved again. Xiao Yang thought a little, and then the 8-pole collapse unfolded. A record of flying legs swept towards the old man. The old man was also unwilling to show weakness. His dry palm immediately clenched into a fist. With the power of heaven, he came fiercely to Xiao Yang's flying legs. Although the old man looks ferocious and thin as firewood, which is worse than ordinary old people, his breath is full of a powerful bullying, which is not consistent with his physical appearance. The old man's finger is not weak, but Xiao Yang's strike collapsed at level 8. How can it be bad? Under the promotion of the 8-pole collapse, Xiao Yang's physical strength has reached an extremely terrible situation. If he competes with the body alone, I'm afraid he will resist a semi-imperial strongman with the same strength, and I'm afraid he won't fall into the disadvantage at all. One finger and one leg are approaching rapidly with the horror of destroying heaven and earth. The crumbling void, under such terrible strength, finally burst out and turned into an endless dark void. Bang! Xiao Yang's leg was pounded with that finger, but the old man's face changed first. Unexpectedly, the boy's body in front of him was so strong and unmatched. He couldn't bear the blow. On the contrary, Xiao Yang's fierce fighting spirit between the two offset each other. Xiao Yang's fierce strength is highlighted. His strong physical strength makes him invincible. No matter how the old man in front of him is, he can't hurt Xiao Yang. Boy, don't want someone who has some strength to win me and fight with me. Strength alone is not enough. The old man suffered a loss, but he was not angry. Instead, he looked at Xiao Yang with a sneer and said. Hearing this, Xiao Yang flashed a light at the bottom of his eyes, and a funny smile was also raised at the corners of his mouth. He also replied with a sneer. Then I don't know what you mean by that. For Xiao Yang's deliberately pretending to be a fool, the old man also has some warm anger in his heart. This boy, who is already in trouble, dares to ask such words, which really surprised him. You're arrogant. My kudu poison palm and that poison finger are the advanced and unique skills of Tui Zong, a superforce in the central region. Both of them are highly toxic. They want to increase, and their toxicity has doubled. Now you're highly toxic, and you dare to be so arrogant. You're really looking for death. Hearing what the old man said, Xiao Yang raised his eyebrows slightly and asked Du Erzong, a force in the middle region. Is this old man from the middle region? Oh, Dui Zong still exists, but I don't know. Today's Dui Zong is still the original Dui Zong. Suddenly, the voice of Jiu Yu's words with a little sigh came into Xiao Yang's heart, which made Xiao Yang's eyebrows pick again. This Dui sect, how long has it existed, has made the Bone Yudu sigh endlessly. Jiu Lao, do you know this Dui Zong? Xiao Yang couldn't help asking about Jiu Yu's sigh, and Jiu Yu smiled faintly in his heart and replied to Xiao Yang. Dui sect was founded 5,000 years ago. Its founder is a strong person who has reached the source of the Holy Land, and his identity is like the little girl you met in Qingyang City. It is also a disaster poison. As soon as he said this, Xiao Yang's spirit was suddenly shocked, and his heart was full of surprise. The Dui sect was unexpectedly established by the disaster poison body. Moreover, the most unbelievable thing is that the strength of the man who bears the poison of misfortune is so strong that he is in the great realm of Source Saint. Yuansheng Deijing, that kind of strength, is the real top strength of the whole Yuanwu continent. But in the twinkling of an eye, Xiao Yang frowned again, and he couldn't help but doubt that at the beginning, the little medical immortal was only at the level of fighting respect, and the misfortune poison body would be difficult to restrain. If he hadn't gathered the magic core of scorpion poisonous dragon and many other natural materials and earth treasures that day, I'm afraid it would be difficult to control. But now, that ancient disaster poison body has reached the strength of the Source Holy Land. How can Xiao Yang not doubt this gap? Don't think too much. The man's strength has indeed reached the realm of Source Saint, and the disaster poison in her body has never erupted. If it doesn't break out, doesn't it mean that the man's disaster poison has not been fundamentally suppressed? Hey, she's not ordinary. Since her cultivation, every outbreak of misfortune poison has been forcibly suppressed by her, and it's still like that until the day she dies. Xiao Yang was surprised again when he heard the speech. This man is really a strange man. The perseverance of his faith is really unparalleled in the world. When Xiao Yang wanted to ask again, the old man was shocked again. The purple and black fighting spirit between the palms gathered rapidly, and a palm hit Xiao Yang again. Seeing this, Xiao Yang could not help wrinkling his brow, a cold hum from his nose, and a shock in his body. The fighting spirit between the palms surged up in an instant. His right palm suddenly shook into a fist, and one fist was a blow to the old man. Withered poison palm. The purple and black fighting spirit in the old man's palm keeps gushing. This move is still the withered poison palm with severe toxicity. Xiao Yan still looks the same. After all, no matter how poisonous his fighting skills are, he still looks like nothing in front of different fire. With one blow, Xiao Yan poured out all his strength and went to the old man's purple-black palm. 8-pole collapse. It was another 8-pole avalanche. In a flash, Xiao Yan had come to the old man and hit the thin palm with his right fist. Bang! One fist, one palm and one touch are divided, but they don't wait to stop. Their bodies collide again. The endless void, which is as dark as ink, is more empty at the moment. In just a moment, the two had fought more than 300 moves. The moves were fierce and killed again and again. If they were not different from ordinary people, I'm afraid they would have to pay a big price. However, the crowd of onlookers had already retreated to the far edge of the sky. If such a huge battle did not escape further, I'm afraid many monks in Yangluo City today could only end here. Above the sky, there was endless emptiness. Xiao Yang and the old man each set up a side of the sky. On Xiao Yang's forehead, a few tiny beads of sweat hung on it. Occasionally, beads of sweat slipped down Xiao Yang's cheeks and wet a corner of Xiao Yang's clothes. At this time, the two men's breath was somewhat vain and uncertain. It was obvious that even though their strength had reached the half-emperor's realm, they still couldn't bear such an endless battle. Boy, after I've received my 300 withered poison palms, all the poison power has entered your body. As long as I move my mind, the poison power will explode in an instant. Today, you will die under me. Jia. At the moment, the old man with distorted face looked embarrassed all over. His long grey hair was scattered in front of him, and his purple-black robe was turned into pieces, but he was bloodthirsty when he looked at Xiao Yang. Hearing the madman's words in front of him, Xiao Yang raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth, and the meaning of playfulness in his eyes was stronger. When the madman saw this, his twisted face also showed a ferocious color, and his eyes were also violent. At the moment, he was ready to appreciate the pain of Xiao Yang's poisonous hair. The old man stared at Xiao Yang ferociously, and his heart moved. He only waited for the moment when Xiao Yang's face showed fear. However, it was a pity that Xiao Yang didn't move for 5 minutes. He just looked at him with a smile. At the moment, the old man's twisted face also showed a dignified color. It was incredible to stare at Xiao Yang's eyes. How can you control it? Even if you are a herbalist and you have a divine pill, you are determined not to completely suppress this withered poison palm. You! What the hell are you? Without waiting for the old man to spit out his words, Xiao Yang had already made some moves. Xiao Yang stretched his right hand forward, spread it flat in front of him, pointed to the old man from a distance, raised a cold smile at the corners of his mouth, and his heart moved. With a puff, a gorgeous flame appeared in Xiao Yang's palm. When the old man saw the gorgeous flame in Xiao Yang's palm, his distorted face was suddenly tight at the moment. On the striking scars, there were ferocious and creeping gullies. After a long time, the old man was still staring at the flame in Xiao Yang's palm with both eyes. His eyes were numb until a quarter of an hour later, he trembled his lips with a hoarse voice and said with an unbelievable face. How could it be? This is impossible. How could it be? Strange fire. Impossible. The world's strange fire has already turned into spirit. If it weren't for the amazing and gorgeous people, how could they get their favor? You. How could you get it? In the face of the old man's gossip, Xiao Yang sneered. All the different fires in the world have spirits, which Jiyu told him long ago. But his strange fire comes from the fighting mainland. Why do you need the approval of those guys? At the moment, the old man is so crazy, which naturally makes Xiao Yang sneer. The palm of his hand was turned over and the strange fire was absorbed into his body. Xiao Yang smiled again at the corner of his mouth and sneered at the old man. We haven't had enough fun just now. Let's come again. Condensing fire means. Xiao Yang's body moved, and he already came to the old man's side. A finger poked out, and the gorgeous flame quickly wrapped Xiao Yang's finger. Wherever the finger passed, the world disappeared, and just recovered some endless void. At the moment, he was smashed into slag again by this finger. Xiao Yang, on the other hand, means that the upper fighting spirit is strongly condensed, and the gorgeous flame is like condensed into essence. With the momentum of flying clouds that can break the world, he points directly at his life gate and wants to specify life and death. At this time, the old man couldn't care whether Xiao Yang had a different fire. Anyway, There must be a big war between them today. If he was afraid of Xiao Yang at this moment, he might have no chance to fight again. Drink. What if there is a strange fire? It's just a trace of the origin of the strange fire. Don't say it's a trace of the origin, that is, the body appears. Today, I must ask him to come and die. Xiao Yang smelled the speech, but his eyebrows couldn't help picking. Some guy in his body seemed a little unhappy. Facing Xiao Yang's finger, the old man didn't dare to underestimate it. He forced his body to turn in the air, and one finger was the frozen fire finger to meet Xiao Yang. Poison finger. This poison finger is also more solid than before. The purple and black strong fighting spirit is condensed in one place, making this finger more powerful. Boom. In the instruction, Xiao Yang's body did not move at all. He sneered on his face and suddenly shook his whole body. A great force poured out from his fingers and bombarded the old man. Bang! The old man was obviously a little out of support. He was suppressed by different fire. Even if he was a 5-star and a half emperor, he was still unable to return to heaven. As soon as he retreated, Xiao Yang followed him closely again. The old man's face changed and he couldn't take care of his embarrassment. A donkey rolled in the air and just escaped Xiao Yang's blow. Damn it. Boy, you are the first one to make me eat like this. I admit that you have extraordinary strength, but even so, I must finish you here today. Before the words fell, the old man was shocked all over, and a surging weather trend spread out from his body. His dry palms closed in front of his chest, and his cumbersome printing formulas were sacrificed repeatedly between his fingers. However, the old man's momentum was also soaring at an extremely terrible speed. Boy, since you have the body of different fire, you are the body of different fire. Today, let's try my body of all poisons and see my body of all poisons. Before the words fell, a purple-black lotus poison seal appeared between the twisted eyebrows of the old man. With the emergence of the lotus poison seal, the old man's breath also soared in an instant. The already powerful breath swept away like a huge wave at the moment, making the whole Yangluo city tremble at this moment. And Xiao Yang, at the moment of seeing the purple-black poison mark in the middle of the old man's eyebrows, his eyebrows were tightly twisted. This old man is also a disaster poison. However, in just a moment, Xiao Yang's dignified face returned to normal again. Although it was also a disaster poison, the old man was like the original glacier master. He was an artificial disaster poison the day after tomorrow. I don't know how many times worse than the real disaster poison. Not only that, under Xiao Yang's perception, the old man's body of 10,000 poisons is still much worse than the original glacier venerable. It is completely an unfinished, semi-finished product. Originally I wanted to play with you several times, but since it is so, it is really easy to deal with you. In Xiao Yang's opinion, the glacier venerable is really extraordinary. He can endure the pain when he turns into a disaster poison. However, it is also true. Xiao Yang is also a little interested in it. In addition, he is familiar with the context of the disaster poison. For such a semi-finished product, several threads that must be used have been familiar to Xiao Yang. Now he has to deal with this old man. It's easy and effortless. Drink. Arrogant boy, even if you have different fire protection, you will fall under my poison today. The body of 10,000 poisons, destroy 10,000 miles. The great wilderness poison, destroy. As soon as the voice fell, the old man was shocked, and the purple and black fighting spirit gushed out in an instant. The whole world was also covered by the poisonous fog in a moment. Even for the people who have withdrawn from thousands of miles away, at this moment, someone suddenly turned into a grey-black under the poisonous fog, and the 7 orifices also had dark black blood flowing out. Just for a moment, many people who can be counted as a strong party in Yangluo City have turned into a piece of blood until they completely dissipated between heaven and earth. Even those who are not poisoned are trying their best to mobilize the few fighting spirit in their body, wrap themselves in them and resist them. At the moment, Yangluo City has turned into a dead city. Wherever there are people, they will become a pile of blood and water of the dead. There is no human land, the earth is desolate, and the vitality disappears. After this war, this Yangluo City will no longer have vitality in the next 100 years, but even so, Xiao Yang still had a plain face. When the poisonous fog hit, he slowly raised his hand and stretched out a finger. The light between his fingers flickered. A thumb-sized flame that seemed to be extinguished at any time rose slowly. Then, as soon as Xiao Yang pointed out, a flame ripple like water waves spread. Wherever the flame passed, the purple-black poisonous fog between heaven and earth sent out a hissing sound as if it had met the ice and snow of fire, and then it turned into a clear fog and dissipated in the void. When the old man saw this scene, his twisted face changed color in an instant, but he didn't wait for his action. Xiao Yang's figure standing in the distance really flashed in an instant, and Tianjue stepped out. In a flash, he already appeared on the old man's side. Fire lotus, broken. At one thought, countless small Buddha anger lotus appeared all over Xiao Yang. With a sudden grip of his right fist, Xiao Yang rushed to the old man with Ling Tian's boom. With a bang, in an instant, the heaven and earth were swallowed up by the endless void, and the poisonous fog dissipated in an instant. The fierce fighting wave was completely swallowed up by the endless void when it came to the countless people. And the crowd, after a shock, retreated thousands of miles again for fear that it would be worse. The semi-imperialist strong are really terrible. It's hard to restrict this world. It's unimaginable. Once the real mainland's top strong start, what will happen? I'm afraid if they turn down at random, the whole continent will fall apart in an instant. After a good film is carved, the world returns to nature. Within the sight of everyone, the twisted old man's clothes and robes were broken. The blood had turned his whole body into a blood man, making him more ferocious and terrible. If you look carefully, you can find that the old man's body turned out to be slightly illusory. In order to fight against Xiao Yang, the old man blew himself up. Looking at Xiao Yang again, although he is much better than the old man, the palm print on his chest is also quite eye-catching. The dark red palm print tells everyone that even Xiao Yang with strange fire can't avoid being eroded by the poison force under the old man's all-out attack. The old man's all-out attack is terrible. This old man, at the last moment, exchanged his life for his life. He wanted to die with Xiao Yang, sacrifice all his blood essence, condense all his poison, explode the body of a half-emperor with his own body as the medium, and blow up with Xiao Yang. However, it's a pity that even so, Xiao Yang, who has a different fire, forcibly fought against Emperor Yang, but the old man can't hurt his muscles and bones. The power of different fire can be seen. Cough. Your strange fire. What kind of strange fire? At this time, the old man finally saw the situation. Xiao Yang seemed ordinary, but his explosive power was enough to resist him. In addition, with the protection of different fire, his proud poison power was useless. Although Xiao Yang could be eroded by this poison power, if he really wanted to, Xiao Yang would be able to get rid of it as long as he paid a high price. Therefore, today's war, he is bound to lose. It's a foregone conclusion. Hearing the old man's words, Xiao Yang knew clearly that this should be his last words. If so, why not? In the heart, Xiao Yang stared at the old man with his eyes, his lips opened slightly, and the plain voice came into the old man's ears alone. This fire is called Emperor Yang. For a moment, the old man's eyes suddenly opened, his eyes were full of fear, and his mouth kept whispering the word. Dian. Tut tut, the remaining poison, I can't imagine that you, the rebellious disciple of Dui sect, will have today. Jia. Suddenly, in the void, there was another shadow, and the voice of irony came out quietly, which made the space a little condensed. The look on Xiao Yang's face was also gloomy after the sound came out. Three Hall Lord, you finally appeared. This video will end here.